Let's talk about the first of the strategies, which is really the encompassing strategy. It's weaved in into everything else we do. It is the thing, and that is, how do you become mentioned by the newspaper, radio, television, and how do the community leaders, opinion leaders, support you? Who are the opinion and community leaders? The fire chief, the police chief, the Red Cross chief, the mayor, the city council. If and when I say police chief, I mean the whole department. How do the school teachers, they're very, very important. It doesn't matter what profession you're in. And the principals support you. How do the rabbis and the priests support you? How do they talk about you? Not necessarily how good food you have or how good of a mechanic you are, but how do they support you? Because they think, they know you are a great person. How do you buy their heart? Because that's what you need for them to say, oh yeah, there's a good eateria out there. There's a good, place out there. So, first, you get involved in the community, and I always have to right away say there, it doesn't take a lot of time from you. It may take 4 to 5 to maybe 6 hours a week from your staff members, from a staff member. A restaurant owner always finds a waiter or waitress who is in the afternoon during downtime willing to do a bunch of that stuff. Always. Okay? So, besides, nothing comes from nothing, all right? It's not possible. Mr. Obama, if he wins, or Mr. McCain, if he wins, is not going to win by sitting at home doing nothing. And it's just not going to happen. So if your restaurant shall be full, booked, day and night, literally, you've got to do something. And what I'm going to tell you to do here in the next 2, 3 to 5 videos, 4 or 5 minutes each, whatever, will do just that. It will fill your restaurant to the rim. End of discussion. That's the way it is. So you get involved in the community. You become a jolly good fellow. You become a humane hero. You become a household name as a good guy, as a trusted guy. All right? When you're trusted, people believe that you will never use old fish or this or that or that or that. All the things which come with it from being a good restaurateur. So that's the first thing. So keep in mind at this moment we're not at all talking about being in a newspaper, radio or whatever for a review. Nothing against reviews. Trust me, I owned restaurants, I run restaurants, I was maître d'hôtel, even actually a few times I didn't mention that before, I was a chef. I don't claim myself to be a super chef, but I was chef in first class French restaurants. And so in any case, I'm not talking about a review in a paper about your good food. That's a whole different ballgame. If you do what I do, you'll get those reviews also, even though we are not going to ever work on getting them. They come automatically if you do what I tell you to do, but you get in the newspaper 5, 10, 20 times a year with stories about good feel, what you do in the community for children, for elder people, for poor people. Those are the 3 aspects children will love the most. Even if your restaurant is a high-class evening restaurant which never sees children, it's the parents and the grandparents which you are trying to attract. Understood? Good. So, you can do things with children and for children and people will love you. Grandparents run around showing the picture of their children all the time. You can do activities like that. Our program shows you what to do there. Be it a good deed contest where you, it's an essay where people, kids write you in what good deed they performed during their life. Whether that is washing mommy's dishes, helping the little sister with homework, saving a turtle from being stoned, selling lemonade and giving the proceeds to a family where the father was a policeman and he got shot dead. Anyway, all those stories I'm telling you are real stories. And children will participate in an anti-drug-free event, be it a food drive in your office, a restaurant outside your restaurant, be it a toy drive, be it a Halloween candy buyback, and lots of other activities. There is about 30, 40, maybe 50 of them If you would do every one of them in a year, you would have to do one activity a week, too much. But we are going to do something about once a month. And you have a chance of once a month to be in 1, 2, or 3 newspapers. Imagine that. And sometimes you will not be in it, because not every time they will talk about it. But that's the activity. And because you own a restaurant, any and all kind of prize giving, any and all like photo shooting could happen in your restaurants. The media loves it and eats it up. In your restaurant, those type of things will happen. They take minutes. Anyway, do not confuse that. Do not in any shape and form thinking that it is only your good food which brings people. Yes, you should have good food. And yes, if you have good food, a certain amount of referral business and all that stuff is there and will be there. In a time like right now, where very most likely the spending of most first-class restaurants is going to go down a little bit. In such a time, I guarantee you, if you're a local, humane type of guy, a guy with charisma, a guy who is in the news all the time, not for saying I have good food, but just because he's a community activist, whatever business is left over, more of it will come to you. Maybe half of the restaurants in your town are going to go broke. I hope not, and probably not. But probably half of the restaurants in your town and in your, the type of food you're serving. And don't confuse yourself that the competition is only seafood. If you're seafood, of course not. You know that. Because it's a matter of, are we eating Mexican today? Are we eating seafood? Are we eating steak? Are we eating Louisiana food? Whatever it is. So anything in a similar price range you compete with, and even with lower price range you compete, and with higher price ranges. So no matter what happens to the business, even if it drops down by 50%, your business will rise because you're well known as a guy. And if your food then is still good, trust me, it'll just be fantastic. So that's about becoming known as a jolly good fellow. The community leaders and the newspaper supporting that and that alone. We're going to go to a next stage about how to become known as an expert. Let me talk about that on the next video. And do not, however, think that that one is going to be more important than that one. And of course, like fire and dynamite, you need both to make an explosion. So stick with us and go and do everything. Because as like with food, you can't just have a good main course and not a good appetizer. You can't not just have a good sauce and a bad steak or worse vice. So you've got to have everything to make it perfect. Even the presentation needs to be perfect. And that's what this is all about. How to package your restaurant outside in the community as this place of love, as this place of being a good something wonderful, something which is part of the community, and they will give you a shot. All right, let's go to the next video on how to be an expert.